Hi, today we're going to look at pages 12 to 15 in our new notebook. So our goal is I can, oh my goodness, review the basics of probability. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to review the basics of probability, and then we will carry on and look at some of the more difficult probability stuff later on. So our first drag and drop says a blank is a list of each possible blank along with its probability. That's going to be a probability model is a list of each possible outcome along with each of its probability. The next thing is I want us to define simple events and probability. So simple events is basically just like one thing is happening at a time. And then later on, we'll talk about compound events, which would be more than one thing happening at a time. So one thing happening at a time. And then probability, its basic definition is like what will probably happen. Or think of it as like if you like a mathematical formula, it's how many give you what you want over how many total outcomes there are. So if you think of like a coin, you want to know what the probability of flipping heads on a coin is. Well, how many heads are there on a coin? 1. How many total outcomes are there? 2. So the probability would be 1/2. So looking down here, you are getting ready for school. You check the news report, and according to meteorologists, there's a 10% chance of rain for that day. Will you carry an umbrella with you? Why or why not? Well, if it's only a 10%, no, it is very likely that it won't rain. However, if you go down here and there's a 95% chance, we will probably carry an umbrella. Some of us won't because we don't carry umbrellas. I don't carry umbrellas. I'd rather just get wet than have to worry about having an umbrella and then what to do with it when you get inside. But some people like umbrellas, and so yeah, they would carry umbrellas. It is very likely to rain today or that day. So then looking at page 13, we're going to first do a little some guided notes here. Blank is the measure of how likely an event is to occur. And so that's going to be probability. Probability can be written as a blank or a decimal. So the other part, decimals can also be listed as fractions. It can also be written as a percent ranging from 0, which means it's not ever going to happen, to 100%, which means it's it's going to happen. It's 100%. It's a 100% chance that I'm at school today. It's happening. I'm here. It's a 0% chance that you are here when I'm making the video because it's a Wednesday. The blank of an event's probability, the more likely the event is to happen. The higher, sorry about the bell, the higher an event's probability, the more likely it is to happen. So then let's do a little click and drag here. If a probability is 0 or 0%, that is, it will never happen. If it's 0.5 or 50%, it has an equal chance of happening. And if it's 1 or 100%, it will definitely happen. So then match the likelihood of each event happening. So you roll a standard die and you get a 6. Well, there are only, I'm sorry, and get a 10. There are only 6 sides to a dice. So if it's a standard die, you are never going to get a 10. So that's impossible. You draw numbers between 2 and 9 from a standard deck of cards. That's pretty likely because 2 to 9, between 2 and 9, that's a lot of the cards, so that's pretty likely. Flip a coin and it lands on heads. Well, that's as likely as not because flipping a coin, there's only 2 options. So it's either heads or tails, so it's about 50% probability. The week is 7 days long. That is very certain. And if there's a 5% chance of rain, that is going to be unlikely to happen. Could it happen? Of course, but it's very unlikely. Moving to the next page. How many possible outcomes are there on this spinner? 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 possible outcomes. What's the probability that it will land on green? So you'll see that all 3 of these are evenly spaced and evenly sized. So green, how many give you what you want? That's 1. There's 1 green out of the total, which is 3 colors or 3 spaces on the spinner. What's the probability that it will land on red or yellow? That's a lot of bells. Sorry about that. There's a red and a yellow here, so it would be 2 out of 3 total. What is the probability of a spinner landing on blue? That spinner doesn't have any blue, so that is not going to happen. And what's the probability that it will land on red, yellow, or green? That is either going to be 3 out of 3, which could say 1, or you could say 100%. That's a percent sign. There we go. And finally, our last page, page 15. Mr. Jacobs' 4th grade class has 14 girls and 11 boys. Answer these questions based on the information. If called at random, what's the probability that a girl will be asked to answer the next question? So how many give you what you want? So there are 14 girls in the class. And then how many total? Well, 14 plus 11 says that there are 25 kids in that class. So therefore, the probability that a girl would be called would be 14 out of 25. You could also change that to a percent. If you changed it to a percent, you would do 14 divide by 25. And so let's see, it takes 4 25s to get to 100. So 14 times 4 is 28 plus 28. So that would be 56%. So again, you can either like mental math your way through it, or you could do 14 divided by 25 in your calculator. You'll get 0.56. And then you move the decimal twice and you get 56%. If called at random, what is the probability that Samantha, a female, will be asked to answer the next question? Well, since she is a female, it is very similar to the first question. So there's a chance. Actually, it is Samantha. So if Samantha is only 1 out of the 25 students, they're trying to trick me there. So how many give you what you want? Samantha is the only one who would meet the criteria. And so there would be 1 out of the 25 students. If called at random, what's the probability that a boy would be asked the next question? So up here, how many give you what you want? That's 11. And then there are 25 students total. And then if called at random, what is the probability that Max, a male, will answer the next question? Again, there is only 1 Max in the class as far as we know, so it'd be 1 out of 25. So hopefully you have pages 12 to 15 all filled out and ready for your notebook check next week. Thanks.